It's been all Switch 2 around here recently, but you know what? There's something incredible to talk about on the Nintendo Switch. Alright, you guys, when I haven't been digging into all of the developing Nintendo Switch 2 news, we've been going deep onto all of the positives and negatives about this incoming launch of Nintendo's new platform. I have been busy playing through Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch, and yes, we knew that this game was incredible because it came out in 2015 on the Wii U, and I remember it blowing my mind back then. It is a massive MMO-like experience, although you play it in single player, and you just have this enormous planet to explore. It's called Mira, and the whole story behind the game is that you are humans that have left Earth as it's being demolished by this alien invasion, and there's so much death and destruction, and you crash land. All of the remaining human race crash lands on Mira, and you've got to make this new planet your home, except for the fact that there are all kinds of critters and creatures and monsters and tyrants. That's what they call the sort of hyper-scale monsters that you have to go and defeat, roaming the countryside. And so you're constantly encountering all of these different creatures to combat, but also to learn more about, and you're creating this huge encyclopedia of all of the beasties that you meet, and it's really impressive. The vistas, the main character of this game is Mira itself. It's enormous, and it is beautiful, and there's gorgeous weather effects happening, and it'll start raining, and it'll get foggy, there'll be lightning strikes, the sun will come up, and it's just unbelievable. And there's a lot of different biomes, so you'll be going through jungle areas, there's rocky canyons and grass fields and swamps and all kinds of different environments for you to explore. I love going to the beaches, and you can go for long ass swims if you want to as well. And so the real main character of this game is Mira itself. It is just a blast to discover. It's awesome to explore. It's incredible to go into caves and find little bits of alien ruins and things like that. And of course, you're not alone on this planet. You're still kind of being hunted by oppressive alien bad guys that you're going to intermingle with, and you're going to have to sneak up and fight. And the whole idea with fighting in this game is that it happens automatically. And so if you target an enemy and you're in proximity of that enemy, whether with ranged weapons or melee weapons, you're going to start getting into combat. And sometimes that works out for you if they're at a level that you can deal with, and sometimes it sure doesn't if they are very high-level creatures and they just stomp on your butt, or they shoot you once with their laser needle or something like that, and poof, you're dead, and you have to respawn, or you can hold off until one of your allies may resuscitate you. And you also have the ability to resuscitate your fallen enemies every once in a while. And so what you're doing in this game is you're going off on missions, you're joining up with this force called the Blade Force, and you are rising in rank as you are reaching towards finally being able to pilot a Skell, which are the mechs of Xenoblade Chronicles X. And it is so fun to get into this robot. You can get in, get out as you want to, so sometimes you have to hop out of your Skell and talk with some of the other creatures that are roaming the land, or they might have an objective for you as well, a new sort of mission for you to go on, or you've got a chest to unlock or something like that. But you can stay in the Skell, you've got more maneuverability, you've got new weapons and new firepower, you've got your own melee weapons and your own rockets and lasers and automatic guns and things like that that you can get into combat with. And you are also going to be meeting with aliens that are in their own sort of mechs as well, so you do get some cool little mech-on-mech battle, but it's all playing out like an MMO, and so it's not like you're taking control and pulling the trigger and deciding what you're aiming at. It's not Armored Core. It's more of a tapping and attack. They call them arts, and you can level up these arts, and you can also gain new skills and new abilities so that they buff each one of these arts. So you can blast away with your ranged weapon and then toggle on the UI over to your melee weapon, and you can kind of chain attacks together. And you can also build up these things called overdrives, which let you just go crazy and slow down time for a bit and throw in all kinds of sort of hyper attacks with you and your team. And the team component is incredibly important. You're not out there alone. You create your own character and you sort of venture out into the world of Mira, but you ally yourself with other Blade members, and they all have their own skills and abilities, and everybody is classed out, and you can outfit each one of these characters. You can also take control of these characters as well, which is pretty cool. You give them sort of combat gear, and they've also got fashion gear when they're back in New Los Angeles, which is the city that all of these ex-citizens of Earth have started to colonize. And it's a very polite society. There are coffee shops and pizza shops. And there's also some aliens that are kind of friendly as well that you get to know and communicate with. And they have a ship that's parked right near New Los Angeles. And so you're going off on missions to help the citizens of New Los Angeles and also these alien pals that you meet along the way. And then there's all kinds of subterfuge and intrigue and lots of different sort of nuance throughout this long, very dense game. It's also incredibly satisfying on a multiple amount of levels. It's fun to explore. It's fun to hightail in on foot. You can go to the map every once in a while, get this hexagonal grid of all of these different locations that you're basically taking over. And there are these location pods that you can activate, and they reveal a little bit more of the map. And you're also finding little bits and pieces of this crashed ship that you came to Mira on called the White Whale. And through all of that and through all of these little diamonds that you are finding across the landscape, you are constantly getting things that will augment your abilities, and you'll also find new weapons, and there are shops, of course, that you can pick up. This is an incredibly dense game. There's just so much thought and detail, and it was mind-blowing to play it in 2015. It just didn't feel like it should run as well as it did on the Wii U, and you feel that exact same sense of awe when you play it on the Nintendo Switch, whether you're playing it in handheld mode or on the big screen. And I'll tell you what, I preferred to play this on the television. I played it a little bit in handheld mode, and it does look really nice on the OLED screen, but there's so much information. There's intel that you're picking up, there's conversations that you're picking up, and not all of it is incredibly clear with where you're supposed to go. This game does not hold your hand at all, and so there's a lot of like digging into details. You might go out on a mission and you get a marker on the map and you say, okay, I've got to make it over there, and thankfully there's fast travel up the wazoo in this thing. You just activate those pods and you can travel to all kinds of different destinations. And a big part of the fun is just sort of unlocking more and more of Mira so you can boot it to all of these different places quickly. But you don't always know what you have to do with the missions, and sometimes they're multi-part missions, and so you have to actually click on the mission, look at its intel, and there's so much detail that like the interface is just bursting at the seams with data and info. And of course you can customize your character and try different weapons out and augment those weapons and augment your skills. And so you're in the menu screens, you're looking at the map all the time. And this was a game, honestly, playing this again, it really made me miss that dual screen functionality of the Wii U because I was on the freaking map so much. I really wanted to just be able to have it up the whole time. You only get a little kind of mini map that doesn't give you much detail on where you're supposed to go. You could drop markers on the map to sort of say, okay, I want to get over there. But holy crap, man, taken as a whole, this is one of the most satisfying Nintendo Switch games I have played in its very robust history. There's so many excellent games on this platform, but Monolith Soft killed it with this game. They did originally, and they've enhanced this and sweetened the pie. Like, loading times are quicker. You level up all of your allies at the same time as you are leveling up, whether you're using them or not. It's just a zippier experience to get around where you need to go. Because the game is beefy and long, and it's about these awe-inspiring locations that you're constantly exploring, just leaping off of a mountain and just falling and falling and falling, and then doing the Iron Man sort of landing, and you're fine, and then you just carry on. This game will give you vertigo, man. Seriously. And there's something to be said about the exhaustion of having to explore everywhere. But you know what? The game's story and all of these creatures and how they kind of come into play with the storyline and the resources that you gather from these areas and from these creatures that you encounter, how they sort of all become integral to your progress and to the way that the story unfolds. And there's a lot of mystery, and there's a lot of cool little surprises. Not all of it is the most elegantly packaged and presented, as we've seen in other ridiculous, massive role-playing games out there like Baldur's Gate 3, or in the beautiful cinematics of something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But it is an incredibly engrossing experience. It's fun to play at every freaking level. And honestly, how insane is it that Nintendo has been able to bring all of the Xenoblade Chronicles games to the Nintendo Switch? What an amazing archive to collect on this platform. And presumably a lot of them, or all of them, will end up being beefed up to run better on Nintendo Switch 2. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that. But it is incredible that you can go through all of these massive role-playing games. There are, some tethers between these things as well, and every single one of them has been outstanding. This is my favorite one, though. You throw in the ability to pilot mechs and cruise around, and I was just in awe. And honestly, I wasn't expecting to be in awe on a 10-year-old game as we're reaching the end of the Nintendo Switch's kind of lifespan, although I think they're going to keep supporting the Switch for a long time still. I think we got years still with Nintendo Switch. It's awesome. It's amazing that all the Xenoblade Chronicles games are here. Blows me away as well that almost all of the Metroid games are on this platform and the Pikmin games. Nintendo's done a very sweet job at sort of curating all of these classic experiences and making them fit on the Switch. But I think this might be the most amazing Wii U port I've seen so far. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to give Xenoblade Chronicles X a 9.5 out of 10.